Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return once again with F1 23, this time round answering the age-old question, pad versus wheel. Do the pad users have a chance once more on F1 23? Of course, I touched upon this on the first impressions video I did a couple of days ago. I'll leave a link top right hand side of your screens if you want to go watch that. But yeah, today we're going to be really diving in with the controller versus wheel debate. So get yourself subscribed here as well, of course. There's going to be plenty of F1 23 content as well. Of course, any questions, let me know down in the comments below as well. But yeah, let's get into this. So of course, the format that I do these videos on has pretty much remained unchanged. Of course, just a quick reminder, this is still a preview version of the game, so a few things might change. So take everything with a pinch of salt. Currently in the background is going to be my wheel lap. Now, of course, for those of you that have been around this channel for a long time, you'll know that I am generally a wheel user on the F1 games. I haven't played with a controller competitively in a very, very long time, but I used to play Forza Motorsport competitively, so I know what it's like to obviously try and compete on a controller still. But of course, yeah, I'm not a controller user particularly anymore on the F1 games. So what I did was I came to Bahrain and I did about 10 laps or so on both the wheel and the controller. Now, of course, the wheel, I was able to get to pace very, very quickly, able to feel quite confident. Bahrain is quite a difficult track as well. Of course, turn 9, turn 10 are probably the most two notorious corners around this corner, of course, for trying to find the precision on a controller. And then, of course, up through 11 and 12 as well. A couple of places where you would struggle, but for example, on the contrary to that, turn 2, turn 4 should actually give the controller a bit of an advantage because, of course, you get the feel through the triggers then. So, of course, as we round our way through the final few corners, all my laps on the wheel, once I kind of got dialed in, were running sort of mid to low 132s. I had a few laps into the 131s, and then this one was my best of the lot. Then lap 7 of 10, and I think this was a 131.5. if I remember correctly there, as we open up the DRS up towards the start-finish line. There we go, on 1 minute 31.516. Now, as I said, it's been a little while since I used a controller. Of course, I do try and make these test videos every single year, but of course, yeah, aside from that, I don't really use a controller. But I think, obviously, the big thing for controller users on F1 23, the traction. The traction is so much improved on both wheel and controller. I had a lot of people on F1 22, because the lack of feel was so bad, you just had no idea, obviously, what the back end was doing. On a wheel, it was easier to fight, a counter steer, that sort of thing. On a controller, it was nigh on impossible, of course. So I did not envy anyone that, whether you don't have the space or you don't have the money, of course, to buy a full wheel setup. But F1 23 controllers are going to be coming back, and I think in quite a big way as well. Will they be as competitive as the top wheel users? Of course not. Just that extra bit of precision that wheels can get. There's no built-in traction control for controllers or anything like that anymore, like back in the day. So, at the end of the day, wheel will still have an advantage, but it won't be anywhere near the advantage that occurred on F1 22. I think, if you've been a controller user and say, you were pretty much even on pace with one of your mates who was on a wheel on F1 2021, find you're a lot slower on F1 22. F1 23, again, you should be able to have a lot closer of battle there. As you can see, little moments like that would have been gone on F1 22. But you can actually save the slide here on the controller then. It's down in towards the final corner. I think this was a 132.9. So only being 1.4 seconds off sounds like quite a lot. But to be honest, that gap's actually been down over previous years when I've done this comparison as well. Of course, we'll show a direct side-by-side comparison. Wheel lap time on the left, pad lap time on the right. Like I said, it was mainly sort of turn 9, turn 10 I was really still struggling with. But what I did notice as well, of course, is on the controller you can actually chuck the car into a corner slightly earlier, it felt like, than on the wheel. It felt like you could brake a tiny bit later, of course, because you get the feel through the triggers, which you don't get through pedals. It felt like you can obviously try and push that limit a little bit more, but again, of course, the usual wheel advantages are still there. The precision. You're never going to be able to do a similar lap time around Monaco on a wheel, on a controller in comparison to being on a wheel. And of course, the big thing for me is still always the immersion and the consistency. People that can compete at a very high level on a controller, so impressive, but I absolutely could not do that on F1 anymore. And, just racing on a wheel for me is a much more fun experience as well. Actually, I'll give myself a quick little shout out here as well. There'll be a link down in the description below to my Discord server. I'm going to be planning on launching a wheel users buyer guide through there over the next couple of weeks, of course, before F1 23 fully releases. So if if you've got a little bit of money and you're thinking you want to buy a wheel but have no idea where to start, get yourself into my Discord server. There's a whole subsection that I'm in the process of setting up that is going to allow you to obviously know sort of what wheels you can get at what budget and that sort of thing as well. So yeah, definitely get yourself involved in that. We're almost for 500 members already, so I cannot thank you guys enough for the support then. But rounding through the final corner, you can see, yeah, the wheel lap time, there were a few places where we gained quite a big chunk of time, but also a lot of the lap where we were pretty much even there. And yeah, like I said, 1.4 seconds actually is a much smaller gap than I've seen in previous years. So yeah, I guess all we can say, pad users, rejoice. You're going to have a lot more fun on F1 23. To be honest, wheel users as well, you can also rejoice. You're also going to have a lot more fun on F1 23. I cannot stress enough just how fun it's been playing this game in comparison. Honestly, obviously I've been playing this a lot over the last couple of days. I'm really not looking forward to going back to F1 22 for the last couple of weeks, because this game is just so much more fun, so much more enjoyable. It feels so much more consistent as well. And I don't know how they've managed it, but the cars feel quicker, but the lap times are actually slower. They've actually brought them more in line with the real-life F1 times as well. I think a lot of it was down to straight-line speed on F1 22. The cars were mega down the straights, and of course, just, if you could try and trick your way around the traction system, the engine braking and all that kind of thing, you can make a lot quicker lap times than in real life. So they've really brought them back in line as well on F1 23. I'm debating, whether I try and beat the pole laps from the real-life Grand Prix, obviously when F1 23 does release in a few weeks there as well. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, of course, your thoughts and feelings. Are you going to be playing F1 23 on a controller or on a wheel? Like I said, get yourself in my Discord server as well, if you want some helpful tips and information from myself. If you're looking for a wheel, so what budget, what you should be looking for, all that good stuff as well. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video as always. If you are new around here, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed as well, like I said, and we'll be back very soon with more Formula 1 23 content. None of these videos would be possible without the support of our channel members, so a massive thank you to The Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David Bennett, Ben Meekins and Aiden C97 for becoming channel members. If you want to be featured in these little clips, click the join button down below.